Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, Kshetra and Kshetragya, or field and knower of a field. The Lord Almighty said, Arjun, this body is known as Kshetra, and the one who knows this Kshetra is called Kshetragya. Such is the perception of knowledgeable people. Arjun, you must consider me as Atma or Kshetragya of all the bodies in the world. And according to me, knowledge of Kshetra and Kshetragya without any distortion is wisdom. Now I'll explain to you in brief the Kshetra as it is, with all its characteristics, and also Kshetragya as well as its influence. The renowned sages have described Kshetra and Kshetragya in many ways. Besides, this has been explained through various Ved mantra and through the carefully drafted Brahma Sutras. The five elements: ego, intelligence, basic nature, the 10 senses, the mind, and the 5 vishyas of the 5 senses of speech, touch, sight, taste, and smell, and desire and sorrow and joy and consciousness and life force with all their blemishes collectively is described as Kshetra. Now I shall explain to you various characteristics of wisdom. The lack of pride in personal goodness, the lack of actions, the quality of not annoying any living being in any manner, the generosity to excuse, the simplicity of the mind and speech, serving one's Guru with sincerity and devotion, purity of inner and outer self, stability of thought process and control over the mind, the senses and the body. These are some of the attributes of wisdom. The lack of attachment with the pleasures of this world and the next, the lack of ego and the repeated contemplation about birth, death, jar and diseases and the various vicissitudes of life are the other qualities which constitute knowledge. The absence of attachment towards child, wife, house, wealth, relinquishing mamta and maintaining one's calm on the ground of loved ones are desired attributes. Unstinting worship towards me, the Almighty, through constant yoga, the tendency to live in solitude, happily, and in a neat abode, the lack of love for people involved in pleasure of life are some of the more attributes of knowledge. Constancy of thought and realizing the Almighty is the core of all knowledge. Understanding this, that Almighty is divine and present in everything, this constitutes knowledge, and whatever is opposite of this is ignorance. I will now describe whatever is required to be known. When human beings attain peace and happiness, it is necessary to have full knowledge of the eternal Parabrahma, Supreme Soul, which is neither known as Sat nor Asat. That unknown has its hands and feet in all directions. with eyes, heads, and ears in all directions. Because of his existence, and presence in all this nature he unfolds in the entire universe, and that is also within himself. He understands all vishyas of all senses, but in himself, in fact, is without any senses of his own. And even though he does not hold any attachment, yet he is responsible for maintaining all. He is without any gunas, yet he is able to enjoy all these. The all pervading Almighty is present in all living beings, even though he himself is sukshma, very subtle, and is unknown. Though he is very close, yet he is very far and is omnipresent. The Almighty is indivisible and with one form. He is all pervading like the sky, and yet he appears to be present in all living beings in bits and pieces. And he, the Almighty, in his Vishnu Roop, is responsible for maintaining all. And in his Rudra Roop, he is the destroyer of all. And in his Brahma Roop is the creator of all. He, the prime creator, is the light of lights and is much beyond the illusory world. He who the prime soul is worthy of knowing, the provider of core knowledge, Tattva Gyan, knowledge of divine philosophy, is particularly present in everybody's heart. In this manner, I have described to you briefly Kshetra, that is the body, knowledge, and the Almighty's form. My devotee who acquires this knowledge attains me, there is no doubt about it. Nature is responsible for creation of Karya, that is sky, air, fire, water, earth. Karya also includes speech, touch, body, taste, and smell. Nature is also responsible for creation of karam, that is intelligence, ego, mind, kshetra, skin, tongue, eyes, hands, feet, and other human organs. The living being, through all these, is responsible to endure joys and sorrows. The human beings present in this nature enjoy the material objects and articles full of these gunas created by nature. And the proximity of these gunas is responsible for the soul to take birth and appear as good or bad living being. The soul present in this body is in fact a reflection of God Himself. He, as a witness, watches over whatever the human being does. He is the best advisor. He is the supreme owner of all. He is known as Supreme Soul. The person who understands the Almighty and nature with all its core attributes, even though he carries out and performs his duty, he is never born again. Many people, by meditating with pure intelligence, see the Almighty in their own heart. Many others see Him through Jnana Yoga and Karam Yoga, or in other words, attain Him. However, apart from these, there are other people of low intelligence who do not understand all this, but who listen to the wise and accordingly worship him. Undoubtedly, these people who follow the advice of the wise also achieve the Almighty. Arjun, all the living beings born in Yavan mantra are born out of union of Kshetra and Kshetragya. This is in fact which you must clearly understand. The person who at the time of his end sees or realizes the presence of Eternal Almighty in all living beings understands the Almighty and His indestructible nature. He holds the correct perception. The person who observes similarity in all human beings, all human lives, due to the presence of the Almighty in all beings, is observing things in the proper perspective. And the person who realizes all these actions are in fact the result of manifestation of nature and sees the soul of anyone, if not the doer, sees all things correctly. The moment a person is able to watch the different moods of all human beings present within the all-pervading Almighty and considers all living beings only to be an extension of the presence, at the moment he realizes and attains the all-pervading Almighty. Arjun, the eternal Almighty being Anadi and Nirguna, even though present in all the body, does not carry out any work and is not attached in any manner. Just as the entire sky is formless and therefore unaffected, similarly Atman in the body, being without any attribute, does not get affected by this body's doing or gunas. Arjun, just as only one sun enlightens the entire universe, similarly one Atman enlightens the entire body. The difference between Kshetra and Kshetragya is understood by people who also understand the freedom of performance from nature with their eyes of wisdom. These sages attain and achieve the Prime Lord Almighty. This is all I have to tell you about Kshetra and Kshetragya. I hope by now you must have understood it in the entirety.